Hey, if you don't like intro, skip to this timestamp. So I recently have had a lot more free time and I was like, hey, I want to do an Iceberg video, and well, I like Doom a completely healthy and non-obsessive normal amount. So I'll do an Iceberg on that. So I was looking at other icebergs that people had made and I was like, I really don't like these. Some of them talk about the original games, some talk about the modern games, some talk about just Doom World, some talk about just strange things, and so I was like, I'll just put them all into one and I'll make my own. It can't be too bad, right?
Oh my goodness!
Yeah, I might have a little hyperfixation. I ordered it in a way that the most commonly known stuff is at the top, and the further you go down is the more unknown. And if you disagree with how I place things, cry about it. I also added this extra life mode tier, which basically is just in case I miss anything, get something wrong, if I want to add something later, or I see something in the comments someone wants me to add. I'll talk about that at the very end of the series, which hopefully we get to. I'm just going to see how this video really does. The reason I named Tier 0 this is because of certain communities, Reddit, running jokes straight into the ground and then creating a misinterpretation of what the series really is, which pisses a nerd like me off. Basically, anyone who is not a fan of Doom or hardly knows anything about Doom, this is most likely what their first interpretation of the series will be. So back in the era of 2020, before COVID was really a big thing and everyone was just making memes about it, Doom Eternal was delayed to March 20th of that year, which coincidentally was the same day Animal Crossing New Horizons was set to be released, even though most stores sold the games on different days to avoid long lines and spreading of COVID. This led to many people creating art, animations, music videos, and more depicting the Doomslayer and Isabell from the two games as close friends. Okay, now say what you will about how
Actually, this is really cringe, and the joke's really overdone.
why don't you go be mad about people having fun on the internet somewhere else? You cannot deny the amount of creativity it inspired, and even led to some official recognition by the game's creators. Okay, but sometimes that gatekeeping thing is completely understandable. At the end of Inferno, the third episode of Doom, a rabbit is shown in a flower bed with happy music playing. The camera then slowly pans over to a city on fire with a rabbit's head on a pike, showing that the armies of hell have made it to Earth. This image was drawn by Adrian Carmack, who apparently liked to draw really gory things happening to cute critters. Many say this is because he was so tired of not having an outlet for darker tones when he was working on past games such as Commander Keen. It's actually not until the release of The Ultimate Doom that included all 3 episodes plus the 4th episode, Thy Flesh Consumed, that it was revealed in the ending screen.
Someone was gonna pay for what happened to Daisy, your pet rabbit.
And while this may have started as the whole big man like little thing and is mad when little thing die joke, it's implied in other games that that represented a loss of innocence for him. It's stated in the Quake Champions lore entry that the Doomslayer carries the foot of his late pet rabbit as a loss of innocence, not luck. After all, it wasn't lucky for Daisy. This was actually one of the first hints we got before Doom Eternal that the Doom guy and Doomslayer were the same person. Along with this, in every level of Doom Eternal you can find the rabbit in obscure places. It's speculated that the appearance of the rabbit is hallucination of the Slayer's mind. I read some people say that Hugo Martin confirmed this, but I couldn't find any confirmation anywhere. It's probably just a neat Easter egg. The loss of innocence thing could go even further when you consider that there is an image that's confirmed to be the Slayer's wife and child.
What about Doom Guy, Doomslayer family? There is a photo under the desk in the Fortress of Doom. Hot topic question there.
That's his wife and kid.
Boom.
That's it.
How about that?
It was his wife and kid before all of this stuff happened, and that's who that is.
Love it.
Some people said it was BJ. I'm like, what?
Yeah. And it's like BJ's wife and kids are in those games. It looks nothing like them. It's got 2 daughters and a wife.
This creates the idea that Daisy could have been a therapy animal to get over the loss of his family, or maybe even a pet of his child. This makes the empty rabbit cage in Doom Hunter base a lot more sad, turning the haha he killed because sad rabbit dead into a representation of protecting those who cannot protect themselves. And then people take that and turn it into this. Even last year at Comic-Con LA, me and my girlfriend were there as Daisy and Doom Guy. first appearance of the BFG 9000 is in Doom Episode 3 Inferno. The weapon packs a punch and is able to hit multiple enemies at once, but it's mostly known for its name, BFG, which stands for Big Flipping Gun. First mention of the name Big Flipping Gun is in Section 14 of the Doom Bible, and then also referred to as Bioforce Gun in the 2005 Doom movie featuring the Rock, which he probably refers to it as
Big fucking gun.
It's also in Doom Annihilation.
Fires a green burst of plasma instead of bullets.
You mean this is a ray gun? Like a real live ray gun?
I will talk about that movie when I get to it. The BFG makes an appearance in games such as Quake, Rage, and even some movies. In Jason X, a character mentions using a BFG. As well in the movie Soldier, a computer screen is briefly displayed which shows that Kurt Russell's character is qualified on the BFG 9000. There's tons of more references to it, but that could take a whole data list. Okay. Huge spoiler warning, because I really think everyone should experience this WAD blind. Even non-Doom fans should play this blind. So if you want to avoid spoilers, skip to this timestamp. So back in March of last year, a Doom WAD came out, which for all you Zoomers, .WAD is the file format for Doom maps, and people who make their own Doom maps refer to them as WADs, megawads, or simply just Doom mods. The WAD appeared to be an instant recreation of someone's house, which is something many Doom mappers have done before. However, the more you play this map, the more you start to realize the room layout doesn't make any sense, monster corpses disappear and reset, the track slowly begins to corrupt. The WAD is based on the novel House of Leaves by Mark Z. Daniel him, from which what I've heard from my good friend Aiden, who actually reads because he's a frickin' nerd, is extremely good and trippy, but is best read physically and not through audiobooks. Really goes to show that to get me to read, it had to be from a Doom mod. The download also contains a sort of ARG in the form of journal entries from the developer, who describes the creation of the mod, which gives so much more intrigue. This WAD is insane, being the size of 66 megabytes, which is bigger than Doom and Doom 2's file size combined 4 times. It became so popular that even non-Doom fans started to give it a try as the next YouTube horror game. It is a massively impressive work of level design. Just make sure when you play it, you play the right version that has the anomalies instead of the normal one like I did. So, VTuber, known as Inugami Kuron, played Doom 2016 on her stream, which led to her fans creating the meme DOOG instead of Doom, because I guess she's a dog. This was referenced in Doom Eternal when going into the Runes tab on the dossier and pressing the chainsaw button 4 times. The Doom Eternal logo spelled DOOG would appear, but what's strange, however, is that after this was discovered, id Software removed the Easter egg in patch 3.1. Some speculate this was due to copyright, but I think it's funnier to imagine a VTuber fan added this without permission and got in trouble for it. Patch notes even claim that the Easter egg will live on in infamy, whatever that means. Okay, this next one is a huge shift in tone, so viewer, listener discretion advised. Some might think this belongs lower in the iceberg, but it's been brought up so many times now that it's pretty well known. The tragic Columbine massacre of 1999 was quickly linked to the violent video game scare of the 90s, with some insinuating that Doom was what caused the 2 monsters to carry out the murder of 12 innocent lives. One of the murderers, Eric Harris, was a known fan of Doom, owning some of the novels and having designed some of his own levels under the name Reb Doomer. In one of the many tapes of the two, Eric expresses enthusiasm with the plan, claiming that it will be, quote, like fucking Doom, even going as far to say that a shotgun was, quote, straight out of Doom. Neither shooter was involved in the Doom community, and their levels were basically unknown before the shooting. Some students who played with Harris through Modem claim that Harris had told them that he recreated the entire high school as a Doom map, but the existence of this map is unconfirmed. In the WADs that are still available, Harris references real Doom, which he makes a point to tell the reader to email him about, leading to some speculation to if this was the WAD he claimed to be a recreation of his high school. Most of Harris's WADs are still able to be downloaded, but some sites refuse to offer downloads. Some of these levels are even lost media today, which could have a whole video on them. Eric had even gone as far to nickname one of his shotguns Arlene after a character from the Doom novels, saying he held a grudge due to the weapon jamming. Eric was quoted saying, "Doom is so burned into my head, my thoughts usually have something to do with the game," which is one of the many reasons people blame Doom and violent video games as a whole for the entire massacre. The family of one of the victims had even filed a lawsuit against id Software along with 25 other video game film and pornographic companies, claiming that the effects of violent media were to blame for everything. The case was dismissed with the judge claiming that computer software was not subject to liability laws. I can't even begin to imagine what the victims of the family must have gone through, and you can't blame them for wanting an answer to why they lost their loved ones that day. The Satanic Panic was the result of some awful events that had happened, which many blamed on satanic cults for the events. While looking for footage for this section, I found all these like old VHS tapes about the Satanic Panic, and they seem so surreal.
Some young people are attracted to the occult by seemingly harmless pleasures, such as games and music. They start by participating in fantasy role-playing games, like Dungeons and Dragons. Others are drawn into Satanism by heavy metal rock music.
This led to anything and everything that had slight demonic tones to be banned. Metal music, Dungeons and Dragons, and obviously Doom. But it has been brought up time and time again. The point of Doom is to shoot the demons, not be friends with them. Can It Run Doom is a meme that any piece of machinery, no matter how advanced, should be able to play Doom. Every time a new console comes out or someone builds an obscure PC, there's always someone in the comments asking, can it run Doom? Which most likely it can, considering gut bacteria can run Doom at 1 frame every 8 hours on 16,039,018,500 crabs, and many, many more. This is because Doom's file size by today's standards is very small, which means it can go on so much. Back in 2019, with the new re-releases of Doom, Doom 2, and Doom 3, Bethesda launched the Slayers Club, official fan club for the Doom series. Players are able to connect their Slayers Club account to the Bethesda account to earn achievements, points that could even offer discounts for official Doom merchandise, and also allowed to climb in rank, with the highest strength being Doom Slayer at 13,000 points. However, this program was retired sometime around August of 2023, with the announcement that the Slayers Club would be reworked to contain content about all id Software titles, which I think is actually pretty cool because I'm a fan of Quake and Wolfenstein. But if Bethesda ever tries to turn the Slayers Club into something for all of Bethesda, that's when I think I'd have an issue with it. In 1996, a comic book based on Doom was written by Steve Bailing and Michael Stewart, with art and coloring designed by Tom Greinberg, with lettering by Ed Fear. All contributors to the comic were given corny nicknames to fit the theme of Doom. Produced by Dana Morshed for Marvel Comics as a giveaway at E3 and for the people involved with Final Doom in 1996. The story follows the Space Marine searching for weapons to defeat a cyber demon, finding a shotgun, chainsaw, chain gun, plasma gun, and BFG 9000. Upon its release, the comic wasn't received well, being a tad bit over the top with its goofiness. However, this was the first appearance of Rip and Tear and Guts, Huge Guts, which many thought to be cringy at the time, but is now the tagline of the series. The comic was released once for E3, and then for an id Anthology collection, which I didn't know existed until researching this entry, and most recently for Limited Run Games' Doom Classic Collection. BJ BLAZKOWICZ is the main protagonist of the Wolfenstein games by id Software, which is the predecessor of Doom. Before id made Wolfenstein, they made Commander Keen. It is proposed by a fan theory in a reply to one of John Romero's tweets that says BJ is the father of Keen and Keen is the father of Doom Guy. John Romero responds with, BLAZKOWICZ is Keen's grandfather, which makes you wonder, why is Keen's dad not some badass hero? Who is he? What is he? Only that Tom Hall can say. Tom Hall then replies, he was an awesome, heroic newscaster, changed to Blaze as a stage name, which is decidedly unsubtle and more radio DJ, but a fan then responds, so Doom Guy is Keen's son? I thought there would be more intermediate generations between them. Also, does Quake fit in somewhere? Tom Hall then responds, yeah, definitely more generations between. Now, I don't know if John and Tom have any say over the lore anymore, but it would be really cool nonetheless. This is even referenced in the Doom RPG games where the main protagonist has BLAZKOWICZ in the name, but those games are in a lower tier. Okay, so you know that guy in your school who wore the hentai hoodie and thought he was the funniest guy in the world? Yeah, this is his favorite Doom mod. That's all I'm gonna say. Creative director Hugo Martin was once asked during a stream if he had ever thought about making a female Slayer, to which he replied he's thought about it.
Would you ever make a female Slayer in the future?
I thought about it, actually.
The foul, wretched, and odorous beasts that are Doom fans were one of two things: horny and misogynistic. Clickbaits were being made like there was no tomorrow, saying that it was confirmed that the next game was for sure going to have a female protagonist, but all that had been said was Hugo Martin thought about it. However, there has been some female protagonists in the Doom franchise. There's Arlene Sanders in the Doom novels, who's a companion of Flynn Taggart, the main protagonist of the series. Then there's Crash from Quake 3, but we'll get to her later because continuity is strange with her. Then there's... And finally moving on to Tier 1, we have I'm Too Young to Die. So when you get past all the horrible memes, these are the things you're going to first see when you start getting really into the franchise. Scratching the surface a little more, but still pretty new to the series. DECINO is a YouTuber who covers a lot of the intricacies of classic Dooms, sound effects, textures, engine, codebase, and so much more. He has a video covering literally like every aspect of classic Doom's engine. They're so fun to watch. If it wasn't for him, I wouldn't have known a lot of this stuff in this Iceberg. He also does a lot of UV Max runs on his channel and also contributes his musical talent to different WADs. DECINO, if you are somehow watching this, please make a tutorial on how to make custom MIDI for Doom. I have always wanted to learn how. Founded on March 13th of 1998, DoomWorld is the oldest unofficial fan website dedicated to all things Doom. Of the original founders, only Stein and Luhat remain, but the number of total members on the staff has tripled. It's been hosting events, competitions, and was even given the rights to distribute Doom source code by John Carmack. With DoomWorld's huge community, it could have a whole Iceberg on itself. Infighting is when Doom's enemies turn on each other, making it a great way to save some ammo. And some maps have even entire rooms or entire levels made specifically for it. Projectile throwing enemies cannot hurt each other due to the game performing a check when a projectile collides with an enemy to see who threw it. If the monster type is the same, they won't be harmed. However, there is special code for Barons of Hell and Hell Knights not to harm each other. Hit scanners are able to harm each other and turn on each other, along with Lost Souls, but Lost Souls forget their target after attacking. In older versions of Doom, Pinky's bites were hit scan, leading to infighting, but performs a systems check in newer versions. You are, however, able to make some demons who are usually incapable of hurting each other harm one another by using explosive barrels. If a Baron fireballs a barrel and it explodes in one hit, hurting another demon, nothing will happen. However, if the barrel remains intact, the code remembers that the last thing to attack it was Baron A. Then, if another barrel explodes, causing this barrel to explode and damages Baron B, the game checks what caused the attack, in this case, the barrel explosion. Who caused the barrel explosion? The last barrel explosion. But due to a coding oversight, the game remembers that Baron A was the last one to attack the other barrel, which causes Baron B to attack. However, Baron B will throw projectiles, but it can't harm Baron A. If Baron B gets close enough to Baron A to do a melee attack, they will be able to harm each other because melee attacks don't check for immunities. This can be done with Minky Bite, but due to Minky Bite not having a melee attack, they will forever infight. I would not have been able to understand any of that if it wasn't for DECINO. In the original Doom, if you put in a certain combination of characters, you'll activate a cheat. Most of these codes are references to id Software. IDDQD, Delta Q Delta, was created by Dave Taylor, who programmed all of the cheats and his two friends from a fraternity, which meant too many quits, which would leave you degreeless. Which is why when putting in the code you get the message, degreeless mode on, which renders you invincible with 100% health, but you're still able to be telefragged and killed by special floors. There's also IDKFA, which could stand for Killer Freaking Arsenal, or All Keys and Full Ammo, which gives you all keys, all weapons, and full ammo. There's many more cheats that all do their own thing, but they're all unavailable on Nightmare difficulty for most Doom source ports. Mighty Doom is a Doom franchise mobile game released by DOOG Games. Originally only in early access to certain players in Canada and New Zealand, but was later released worldwide in March 2023. I remember when many people first saw Mighty Doom and they hated it. Doom fans have this weird tendency to want more Doom content and then get upset when they get it. The game has many microtransactions, but to be fair, it is free to play, but it does make it annoying because a lot of the armors are paywalled, not for perks, but I only really want it for the cosmetic. But while recording this, it was announced that DOOG Games, as well as a bunch of other companies under Microsoft, are getting shut down, which is going to render Mighty Doom unplayable on August 7th of 2024. I keep hearing people say good riddance when they've never played the game. I know the whole stigma behind mobile games and people hate all the microtransactions, but they're not required. When this was first announced, they disabled all transactions in the game and are even offering refunds to people who request it. I love this game and it's really sad to see it go. I just really hope someone's able to archive it in some way, shape, or form, because we've already had a bunch of Doom mobile games that have been turned into lost media. I'll talk about those later, but it's just really sad to hear that the small company who made this project and so many people who put hard work into this game are losing their jobs, and it might never be able to be played again after a certain date.
Vamping little eyes. Doom for the 64-bit Jaguar. The best Doom ever. Pretty disgusting. Now on 32X. It makes me sweat. Welcome to the world of Doom.
Doom being the phenomenon it was, it had widespread popularity, but many people at the time couldn't afford a PC, so that led to console ports being created for the game. The very first one made was the Atari Jaguar edition, but was beat to release by the 32X edition. Some ports are really good, like the PlayStation edition, and then there's a 3DO port that has a small screen and low frame rate, making it basically unplayable. Being one of the most well-known Easter eggs in gaming, if you no-clip into the Icon of Sin in Doom 2, you'll see the face of John Romero, one of the game's creators. This was snuck in by artists, which led to Romero discovering it while playtesting. When the Icon of Sin first sees you, it plays this. But if you take that audio and reverse it,
To win the game, you must kill me, John Romero. To win the game, you must kill me, John Romero.
many people draw comparisons between early metal music and the Doom soundtrack, with some having an undeniable match. What's interesting, however, Bobby Prince, the music and sound designer for Doom and Doom 2, claims he had never listened to metal music before composing At Doom's Gate, but the track sounds incredibly similar to No Remorse by Metallica. With many more tracks sounding very similar. This isn't a way to get more comments, but genuinely, I would love metal recommendations. I really like People Equal Shit from Slipknot and Seeing Red by Architects. I just love loud screaming. I just never know what to call metal subgenres because people get mad if I don't know the difference between kitchen sink metal and microwave metal.
Academons are funny. In the original Doom, they had a butthole. You know that? In this game, they have a modeled ball sack.
Even better.
One of the most well-known Doom mods is Brutal Doom, created by Marcos Abinente, or Sergeant Mark IV, who we will discuss in a later entry. This mod draws a lot of inspiration from the Doom comic, adding verbal taunts, animation overhaul, and a lot more gore. The mod is compatible with all 3 commercial classic Doom releases and adds Extermination Day, an optional level pack designed around the mod for Doom 2. The sound effect used for the Imp and ZOMBIEMAN death is taken from an SFX library that can be heard in many other films and games. I have a huge soft spot for 90s and early 2000s adaptations for movies, for better, for worse. My favorite movie of all time being the Super Mario Brothers movie. No, not that hunk of junk. I'm talking about the masterpiece that's a 1993 movie, but that's for another video. So, Doom 2005. A movie adaptation of one of the biggest game franchises and possibly the most well-known first-person shooter is getting a movie. Pretty big deal. So, they get The Rock on the big screen. Everyone's waiting to see some demons slam. There's no demons. There's no demons in Doom 2005. Apparently there was supposed to be, but I really would like to make an iceberg on the movie as a whole because so much was removed. But if you're a big Doom 3 fan, then you might like it a lot more than the classic and modern fans. The Pinky's design is almost identical to the game, with the Hell Knight model design being used as a base for this monster. In the original screenplay, demons were going to make an appearance, such as the CACO demon, the spider Skullington, which could either be a spider mastermind or Arachnotron, or the Trites from Doom 3. The Archvile would have been included too, with some insect-like appendages, which sounds really cool. There's also talk of a, quote, obscene female demon, which I'm assuming was supposed to be the boss from Doom 3. When the DVD was released, if you put the disc into an Xbox, you could play a demo of Doom 3, which was pretty neat. And then 14 years later, we got Doom Annihilation. So, imagine this, you're a huge fan of Spider-Man. The first ever Spider-Man movie adaptation is about to be released. You're super excited, you're like, I can't wait to see Peter Parker. The movie begins, you see Peter Parker, he's about to be bitten by the radioactive spider, right? All of a sudden, he gets hit by a bus and dies. Then the girl from Shake It Up appears, plays a character named Jimmy Harris who has never been mentioned in the comics, becomes the poster girl for the franchise, and is apparently Spider-Man despite never being bit by the radioactive spider. You'd be upset, right? The main character from the source material isn't in the adaptation, is being replaced by a character who's never been in the source material. That's a bad idea, right?
Hours and 39 minutes long. Can't believe you're bringing that weak ass shit.
You got your toy. I got mine.
The entire movie is just these weird attempts at making callbacks to, look, the AI's name's Daisy, like the rabbit, or, oh, look, it's Sandy Peterson. Oh, look, that guy's John Carmack. Oh, the main villain's Betruger. Okay, that one I actually think is really cool. To be fair, there wasn't that big of a budget. They couldn't really use much from Doom 2016 because they didn't secure the rights. They asked Bethesda to step on board, but they respectfully declined and said that they wished the project well. Joan, the main character of the movie, who many people dislike because she's not Doom guy, was inspired by movies like Alien and Terminator. The director of the movie, Tony Giglio, felt that female protagonists in a sci-fi action movie are pretty effective. Doom Annihilation gets a lot of hate, and I can see why people dislike it. But when you look, you can see that there was effort. They were trying to capture that classic Doom feeling.
Huh? Oh, come on! this is cool!
There was also talk of a supposed sequel that was going to include the Doomslayer. Some even saying that John Cena was set to play the Slayer, which I can kinda see it, but Michael Shannon, I mean, just look at him. I actually found this out while recording the script. Apparently there was going to be a whole other movie before Doom 2005 that got completely canned, and so I'll add that to the extra life mode tier. Doom Eternal brought back a lot more nostalgic designs for its enemies, going for more stylized rather than realistic like in Doom 2016. However, many classic fans were confused when this design was shown off because it looks a lot like the Cyber Demon, but it's called a Tyrant. This confused a lot of people because in Doom 2016, the Cyber Demon was very different in design. Many can attribute the model change to different art styles, but some say it's more of a lore reason. In Doom 2016, it states that the UAC Cyber Demon project was performed on the Balgar Demon, which was reanimated by the UAC. Some even say that this skull and cultist base looks like the Balgard, but I don't see it. Tyrants are described as demon lords, while the Balgard is a shadow lord. Now this is either huge lore significance, or it's just edgy metal sweetening. I've seen people say that Hugo Martin at the E3 gameplay demo said that the Cyber Demon is a title rank and not a specific species, but I haven't found this quote anywhere, but it's what many believe to be the case. Again, if I have any inconsistencies, let me know in the comments. Doom 3 is the black sheep of the Doom series, yeah, we get it. Doom 3 is different with it being more horror focused than it is action, and this leads many to not like it. But in research for this video, I found out that Adrian Carmack and Kevin Cloud were heavily against remaking Doom. They were scared that id was going back to redundant formulas and reused properties. However, with the warm reception of Return to Castle Wolfenstein, many thought a remake was the best route. This then led all employees, John Carmack included, to give them an ultimatum: let us remake Doom 3 or fire us, which led to the two saying, okay, fine. But Paul Steed was fired for instigating the confrontation, which is messed up considering that Doom 3 wasn't a massive failure. id Tech 4 was their newest game engine, which was used for Doom 3 along with other id Software titles. The whole development of Doom 3 is super interesting, with the original 2000 E3 build having Betrayal wear glasses, having a less confident demeanor, and a voice talking to him, but that's all for a deeper dive. Doom 3 took the fast-paced action of the first games and kicked it out the airlock in place of son of a bitch, which I like now and then for a different experience for Doom, but many people don't share my opinion. I played through the BFG edition with the flashlight being able to be used while holding weapons, but in the original you need to actually switch to it as an individual weapon slot, which seems, oh, this builds suspense, when in reality it's just annoying. There was duct tape mods that allowed for the flashlight to be used at the same time as a gun, but the BFG edition included it as a feature, but the flashlight just runs out of charge and it's super annoying even if it recharges pretty fast. Many don't like Doom 3 because of its differences to the original game, but it still holds a place in the hearts of many. The GZ Doom engine is quite the source port, as it uses OpenGL to create fully 3D environments, dynamic lighting, and more. Originally intended for Doom mods, the engine has led to the creation of many indie games, such as Head On, Dismantled, and many more. One day I'd like to make my own shooter with the engine, but I have to learn how to code first, and that's quite a task. Strafing in games is just moving laterally, while circle strafing is a technique where you strafe around an enemy in a circular motion while continuing to aim at them. This is a lifesaver in Doom, as many projectile throwing enemies won't be able to hit you. This is useful in many other games, however AI has gotten good enough to predict where you're going. So that's going to do it for Tier 0 and Tier 1 of the Ultimate Doom Iceberg. If you made it this far listening to me yap about my favorite game, then thank you so much for watching. I really do appreciate it. If this video does well, I'll do part 2, and if it doesn't do well, I'll probably still end up doing part 2 because I love doing these. That's really about it. If you don't care about where I've been, then go ahead and click off. I started making this video in December. I created the chart. We'll finish the chart in about February. And then I started writing the script for like 2 months because it took me forever. Or no, writing the script was pretty easy. It was recording it that was frustrating because I've done a little bit of voice acting stuff, but I hate recording lines off of scripts, so I'm gonna just do bullet points next time. And then editing this, I've really had not much motivation to, just because I've been getting distracted by a lot of things. I love doing this. Motivation's not, lack of motivation isn't the right word, but I just kept getting distracted. I have a lot more opportunities now with my new job, more free time. I got to go to Japan, which is really fun, but I also would really like to focus on animation doing more voice acting stuff. I did some shorts, trying my best to increase my range. Go check those out if you're interested in my cracky voice. Next time I'm gonna make editing a lot more simpler so I can get this out much faster, because the whole point of the Iceberg video was to have simpler editing, but I got carried away and made things really complicated. I barely just found out that Premiere has presets you can do for effects, which makes my life so much easier. But also too, Adobe is increasing their prices, so screw you, Adobe. After this video, I'm probably canceling my membership. Also too, if you want to check it out, we haven't uploaded much because, again, I've been procrastinating on editing. My second channel, Epic Style, with my 3 friends, Cole, Aiden, and Jose. We're a ripoff of Game Grumps and Oni Plays, so if you like them and want a watered down version of it, come check us out. But yeah, thank you guys for watching. I have over 200 subscribers now, which really means a lot. You guys have left so many nice comments on the other 2 videos, which, by the way, the I Enjoy series isn't over. I just wanted to try something new. So again, thank you guys so much for watching. I'm really going to try my best to get the second one out. Not anytime soon. I have a lot of personal projects I gotta get done, but I promise I'm gonna do my best. I can't promise it's gonna be for sure, but I'll do my best to have something out in less than a year's time. So, thank you all. My friend Aiden says hi.